I just felt it difficult to read. Sometimes
You could say that Brooks Koepka isn't the biggest fan of Bryson DeChambeau. But how did Bryson, who's widely known for his scientific approach to the game of golf, and Brooks, who's more of your classic jock, get to this point in their public feud? And who's in the right? Let's talk about all that and more. The Bryson versus Brooks battle's beginnings are found way back in January 2019. As we covered near the end of our first video on DeChambeau, a video from the Dubai Desert Classic came out of Bryson calculating air density with his caddy in preparation for a shot into the green. Lots was said about it, but one complaint stood out in particular. One from Brooks Koepka on a Golf Monthly podcast. Koepka said, "I just don't understand how it takes a minute and 20 seconds, a minute and 15 to hit a golf ball. It's not that hard." And then not so subtly called Bryson out by singling out long hitters and people doing calculations. Fairly harmless, in all honesty. Brooks was just venting about something that bothered him, but didn't call out Bryson specifically. Nothing really came of this, but Bryson was aware of the comments that were made. Then in August, at the Northern Trust, Bryson's slow play was again a topic of discussion, and Brooks had more to say about the issue, though again not speaking about Bryson directly. Koepka said, "I get that you can take a long time for your thought process, but once you're done thinking about it, just go. What else is there to do? That's been the problem I have. I mean, I take 15 seconds and go, and I've done all right." This clip of him taking forever on the green to miss an 8-foot putt went viral, and the backlash started coming. Bryson had had enough. After venting to the media about what he felt was unfair targeting, Bryson decided to walk over and tell Brooks' caddy that if he had an issue with him personally, he should say it to him directly. Yeah, he told someone else to tell him to say it to his face. But Brooks did just that, and the two hashed it out. Afterward, Brooks said he wasn't singling Bryson out, and that's what he told him in their private conversation. Bryson was a bit more complimentary of Brooks, and it sounded like they'd put the battle in the past. And then 2 days later, they even appeared on a satellite radio show together, clearing the air, and Bryson joked about how Brooks could probably beat him up, to which Brooks replied, "You got that right." So all was right in the golf universe until January 2020, when Bryson was streaming Fortnite and decided to take a shot at Brooks.
I don't know if his genetics even make him look good, to be honest. I mean, a body issue. He didn't have any abs. I can tell you that. I got some abs.
That didn't sit well with Brooks. You see, they had come to an agreement in August that they wouldn't talk about one another at all, which was kind of the basis of their truce. And with this one-off comment, all bets were off for Brooks. He fired back with just an all-timer of a tweet, showing off his 4 major championship trophies and saying, "I'm too short of a six-pack." Since then, the barrage has been pretty constant. As Bryson's fame has grown along with his success, so has the backlash from Brooks and those who are rubbed the wrong way by Bryson and his personality. There was this moment of Bryson looking for relief from some fire ants under the dangerous animal rule, which he was denied. He was widely panned for this move, and the next day, Brooks found himself in a similar situation, so he decided to have a little bit of fun. And just a week later, he had this to say during the PGA Championship.
Playing good, and there's no reason to, be scientific with all the numbers and stuff like that on track. Man, just go out and go play.
That smile tells it all. But Bryson fought through, claiming his first major championship at the US Open in 2020, which Brooks claims to have not watched a second of as he recovered from injury. And all was quiet until the 2021 PGA Championship, when this video absolutely exploded online. That's Bryson walking behind Brooks in some metal spikes and chatting loudly, which makes him lose his train of thought and give the eye roll of the century. And it fed right into another spat on Twitter. Right after the eye roll video came out, it was announced that Bryson was scheduled to play a match with Aaron Rodgers against Tom Brady and Phil Mickelson. Brooks couldn't resist, simply saying, "Sorry bro" to Aaron Rodgers. To which Bryson, after months of not responding to Brooks' barbs, said, "It's nice to be living rent-free in your head." Soon after this, the fans decided to get involved, yelling out Brooksy to Bryson on the golf course.
"All right, Brooksy!"
Bryson didn't respond well to this either, asking for the hecklers to be removed from the course. To which Brooks responded with a wonderfully branded message.
"What's up, guys? It's Brooksy."
After the disappointment of not seeing the two paired together at the US Open a few weeks later, the feud carried over into the British Open in July. After Bryson had a tough driving day, he called out his brand, Cobra, saying that his driver sucked. Brooks decided to take a few jabs at Bryson again, saying, "Driving into the weekend." Another A-class troll job by Brooksy. So, that's the brief history of the rivalry up till now. But the question is, who do you think is in the right? For me, it's complicated. I can see why people dislike Bryson and love seeing Brooks poke fun at him at any chance he can get. From the outside, Bryson's a bit of a know-it-all, especially to someone like Brooks, who just likes to grip it and rip it. There are tons of public incidents that don't put Bryson in a great light. Just to list off a few, his caddy quit on him right before a tournament, he complained about a cameraman following him on the course, and he sarcastically waved at a camera pointed at him while he was having a bad round on a Sunday during a tournament in which he was in contention. There was that whole ant incident that we mentioned earlier too, which is just one of a list of times where he's had a spat with the rules officials. And that's all just in the past year or so. On the other hand, the endless taunting from Brooks seems a little childish. He's made fun of your abs, so now you're going to ruthlessly taunt him for the rest of his career? I get the initial response, but now it just seems like he's doing it to make him mad. If you take a look at the feud from the outside, it actually has an interesting undertone of the classic high school jock versus geek storyline we all know from movies and TV. Though not a perfect analogy, Bryson is the geek in the story and Brooks is the jock. Brooks is a natural athlete who gives off the I don't care about anything vibe. In a podcast with Barstool Sports, which is very on brand with the high school cool vibe, Koepka talked about how he doesn't really even watch golf.
I don't watch it. I don't watch it when I'm away from it.
Bryson, on the other hand, is a classic science nerd, but he used his nerdiness to bulk up and encroach on Brooks's territory of athletic supremacy. I mean, the whole personal side of the feud spiraling out of control basically started with Bryson saying he's more ripped than Brooks. In movies and TV, usually people would be rooting for the underdog geek, but in this real-life version, it feels like most everyone is on the jock's side. And that probably has to do first with Bryson's less-than-perfect personality. He tried to be likable in the match and joke around with the guys, but that just doesn't come natural to him. Second, it's the fact that the geek is encroaching on the jock's territory. People usually don't watch golf to watch someone calculate air density. Most people love watching players like Brooks use their athletic gifts and innate feel to dominate their way around a golf course. In our first video about Bryson's unique approach to golf, we got a lot of comments wondering if his scientific methods were the only reasons people didn't like him. Now, if Bryson still did his own thing on the course, but sped it up a bit and was a bit easier to be around, maybe he'd be more likable. But it's the combination of those things that make people dislike him. If I had to pick a side, I'd probably go with Bryson. I respect his work ethic and his drive to be the best in whatever way he can. Plus, Brooks's continued trolling, while funny, has been taken a little bit too far. I understand people being annoyed with the way Bryson goes about doing things, but I'm not sure that the response has been in line with the offense. But the feud is helping give more exposure to the game of golf, which is great, and I certainly understand people siding with Brooksy for whatever reason they have. What do you think about the rivalry? Do you favor Brooks or Bryson? And do you think this rivalry is good for the game? Leave a comment below and we'll see you in the next one.